Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nello Reads channel. Our first story of the day comes from Fox and Socks. She wants my boyfriend to buy different flowers so she can post on social media. So my boyfriend buys me really unique bouquets / arrangements of flowers every now and then and sends them to my office. It always goes to the receptionist first, as she has to check in all deliveries. So one day she calls me up, says I have a gift at the front, so I head downstairs. I go to grab them and she asks me to wait and back up so she can get the perfect picture of them. I was confused, but I let her take the pic because they were beautiful. I see on her Snapchat she took a pic of them captioning it, "Thanks so much babe, I love the flowers." I mean, whatever, that's pathetic, but who cares? She's known to do that all the time, take pictures of other people's cars, jewelry, etc., and claim it as her own on social media. Anywho, I got another call months later for a gift at the front. Now this time, I go down and she is picking out the flowers she doesn't like. I ask her what the heck she is doing, and she says she wants to take another pic, but doesn't really like the arrangement this time, and maybe next time he should just get roses. I snatched the flowers away and told her off, because wow, maybe buy your own flowers then? After writing this out, it seems pretty stupid to get as heated as I did at that moment, but I was so shocked she didn't find anything wrong with what she was doing. I've been wanting to rant about that for a while. Some people just live in their own little worlds. Like, I can't even imagine basically destroying someone else's gift and going, "What'd I do wrong? I didn't like it." Like, I don't know how someone thinks like that. Our next story comes from Filigree's Daddy, How to Kill Boredom in the Workplace. During my time in the Navy, I absolutely hated getting posted ashore. The shore posting I got sent to was a workshop on the base that had too many people and not enough work. On my second posting there, they had got rid of most of the useless people, but there were still too many people with not enough work. I got assigned to one of the subsections where, for the most part, we got left alone as long as the work was done, so that was cool. About 2 months in, at our lunch muster, the only way they could keep track of all of us was to have us muster several times a day to micromanage us, a petty officer we will call T says that too many people are either going to lunch too early or coming back too late. "Your break times are listed. You must follow them to the letter." 2 days later, 10 o'clock comes around. Time for stand easy. The guys I work with usually just had our short break in our workshop as we got left alone out there. At 10:02, a new seaman to the unit comes in and says to me, "POT wants to see you." I gave him a thumbs up as I had a mouthful of biscuits and watched him walk away. I then reached for my next biscuit. My teammates asked if I was going to see the PO. My reply, after stand easy. At 10:19, stand easy ended at 10:20, I walked into the office. The first thing I heard was, "Where have you been? I sent Seaman Newbie out to get you 20 minutes ago." My reply, "But you said on Monday we had to adhere to our break times." Everyone else in the office had that "oh no he didn't" look, and I could almost see the smoke coming out of POT's ears, until we heard the chief laugh from within his office. Fast forward a few months, I had been moved to another subsection there. Again, 90% left alone and self-managed. The manager of the collection of workshops we belong to, Lieutenant Commander, usually engineering, rotated out. The new boss was doing a quiet walk around to get the feel of the place. He saw the number of guys sitting around on their phones. Next morning, new directive from upstairs. Anyone on their phone during working hours will be disciplined. When the boss walked around the next week, he looked into my little space. 3 of us were sitting there reading books. Our chief comes down 10 minutes later. "The boss wants you to be doing work, not reading books." The next time the boss came through, we were all in exactly the same positions. This time, we were reading service manuals. When he asked, "Why aren't you working?" my reply was simple. "We have done everything there is for us to do today, sir. Now we are using the rest of our day to build our knowledge to do our jobs better." A.B. Smith here is refreshing his knowledge of refueling at sea. AB Martin is learning about the new paint scheme we are starting to use, and I am looking through the pay and conditions manual to find out if the workshop out the back that I used to work in gets hot enough to qualify for heat allowance to be paid. Needless to say, the boss stormed off muttering. The next day, the chief informed us that as long as we had our work done and we were being quiet and discreet, we could do whatever the heck we wanted. It was good to get back to the sea and do some meaningful work. This story reminds me how in school I had a few teachers where if I finished my work before the rest of the class, I couldn't read or really do anything besides sit there quietly. School is already bad enough, but now I'm being punished for finishing my work early? It doesn't make sense. Anyway, our next story comes from The Valleys, slowest mile of my life. I've tried to fix the grammatical mistakes, but as I said in a comment, the Baptist school was there to teach us how to be Baptist. Other subjects kinda didn't matter. Growing up, my siblings and I went to a private Baptist school, as our parents wanted to keep us from the world's evil influence. It did not work, as I'm sure 99% of people who attended those type of schools know what actually goes on in those environments. Anyway, once a year we went to what was called Regional Student Convention, aka Regionals. This was a big fine arts competition between other schools like ours in the region. People from Arizona, New Mexico, Kansas, and Texas came to one spot somewhere in the middle to compete. Those who did well could move on to International Student Convention, which is obviously for other schools around the world. Our school didn't go to internationals, but took regionals pretty seriously. There are over 100 fine arts categories you can sign up for. Our teachers required at least 7, but no more than 12, I believe. The categories included photography, acting, writing, color guard, some sports, singing, art, and track and field, to name a few. I would try my best to do the most allotted categories, since my parents took the week of regionals off and liked to see us perform. I would do photography, sewing, research projects, multiple singing groups, some play type things, and I played on the volleyball team. All of these were picked because I wanted to do them. I wanted the week to be fun for myself and my family. One year, the teacher in charge decided to micromanage everything about this week. They decided they were going to tell everyone what they were doing instead of letting us pick ourselves. The teacher decided one sports activity was not enough and wanted me to sign up for a track and field event. I told them I did not want to, as I had done it in the past and did not win and ended up exhausted the whole rest of the day, as I did not ever train at all for the events. Our school was a church building that they could convert to the school Sunday nights, so no grounds for such a thing. Track and field happened on Tuesday morning, and then after lunch, it was time to do singing competitions. It made for a miserable day for me. The teacher did not care, and decided I would be running the timed 1-mile run. They could have easily made me do something less exhausting, like the 100-meter dash. But more people signed up for that than they did the mile, so by their logic, we had a better chance at a medal. Most teachers that take students to these competitions want to receive a plaque of achievement for that category, so they try to get as many people to participate so the plaque can hang in the school hallway. The teacher did not care that I requested not to do this and told me, "You will sign up for it. Even if you walk the whole mile, you will participate." I replied with, "Yes, ma'am," and filled out the required paperwork. I'm sure you can see where this is going. The day of the competition comes, and we are all warming up, waiting for our events. The teachers are all there cheering us on, as well as all other students who were not competing. That part is fun, just hanging out with your friends. Our school did not take it too seriously. We didn't have any training or anything, so it was just a morning spent on the grass for us. After a while, it's time for the female mile, and I was all smiles. The teacher asked if I was ready, and I replied, "Are you ready?" They had no idea what they were in for. I lined up with all my fellow competitors and waited for the gun to go off. Once off, I did a little jog, and of course, everyone rushed past me. Then I walked. I walked the entire mile, which, if you don't know, is 4 times around a track field. There was so much confusion, and many people came up to me thinking I was hurt. I replied to them all, "I'm fine, just doing what my teacher told me to do," with a smile and a wave. The officials were confused. The other competitors were confused. Even my parents were confused. I turned what would have been a 10 to 20 minute event into a 35-minute event, which is a lot of time, considering they could not start anything else till the female mile completed, so everything was at a standstill because of me. I eventually finished, and my judge didn't even give me my completed time since it was so ridiculous. I did finish in 6th place since there were only 5 other competitors, so I still got a medal. Woohoo for me! When I tell you the principal of our school was mad, I mean, if he was a cartoon, there would be steam coming out of his whole body. He was silently screaming at me, telling me how much I embarrassed him, the school, myself, and, most importantly, God. I very calmly explained I only participated like my teacher told me to do. I know that nothing happened to the teacher for making me do that event, but I was never forced to sign up for anything I didn't want to again. Not to go on another rant about school, but I absolutely hated forced participation stuff like this. So, OP, I do feel your pain. But big props to you for actually walking the whole way, though. I think I would have been way too embarrassed to go through with the whole thing. Also, the principal sucks for saying you disappointed God. Unless he's the second coming of Christ, I don't want to hear it. Our next story of the day is from I'm D&D. You're not medically qualified. I work in a prison, and working in a prison means a responsibility to ensure the well-being of inmates. As expected, this includes medical needs. Anything you would see a doctor for, the inmates would as well. The procedure would be to send a medical kite, or a letter, to medical with concerns, symptoms, etc., and request to be seen. For a true emergency, chest pains, trouble breathing, an inmate can declare a medical emergency. This is the equivalent of calling emergency services. When a medical emergency is requested, a radio call is made with the location, nature of the emergency, and the requested type of service needed, such as facility medical staff, custody staff, and outside medical services. When a medical emergency or code is called, the facility is locked down, meaning no movement for the inmates. Lunch being served? Sorry, you will have to wait to eat while this code is going on. Time for you to go to work? Sorry, you're going to lose some pay until this code is clear. As expected, there are incarcerated individuals that are not all that mentally stable. They will declare a medical emergency for a hurt toe or heartburn. Now, as a regular person, I'm aware a hurt toe is not a medical emergency, so I, and many others, would advise the inmate to kite medical and request to be seen. This system seemed to work for a long time, until the administration began to receive complaints from the inmates that staff were ignoring the request to declare medical emergencies. "You are not medically trained," was the answer we received when we tried to explain the reason for ignoring medical emergencies. "Do your job and declare the medical emergencies." Message received loud and clear. Over the next week, medical emergencies went from 1 a day to 3 to 4 a day. Inmate has a stubbed toe? Medical emergency. Constipated? Medical emergency. Itchy butt? Medical emergency. You get the point. The facility was paralyzed. Medical was mad because they had to respond to every call. Food services were mad because a meal that took an hour to serve was now 2 to 3 hours. The inmates were mad because their yard and gym time was affected. A week later, to the day, an email directive was received to stop declaring medical emergencies and to use our judgment. A few staff members kept it going for another week until it faded out. There was no sorry for the inconvenience or you were right, but that email was so satisfying to receive. The only comment I have on this is I don't think I could ever work in a prison. I'm sure it's not actually as crazy as TV shows make it out to be, but it does look pretty scary. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and I will see you in the next video.